Title: The Language of Flowers and Forgotten Melodies. The bell above the door of Café Lumière chimed like a hesitant piano note, and Clara Bennett stepped inside, her violin case bumping against her thigh. Raindrops glistened in her auburn hair as she shook off her coat, the scent of bergamot and espresso wrapping around her. She'd been coming here every Tuesday for months, seeking refuge from her cramped apartment to compose music that stubbornly refused to flow. But today, the usual hum of chatter was drowned out by a new sound, a man's voice, low and warm, arguing with the barista. No asterisk, I don't want oat milk, or almond, or whatever tragically trendy thing you're about to suggest, he said, tapping the counter with a paint-stained finger. Just black coffee, please. Clara stifled a laugh. The man was a mess of contradictions, a sharp jawline softened by unruly chestnut curls, a faded band t-shirt paired with tailored trousers, and eyes the color of stormy seas, currently narrowed in mock irritation. When he turned, clutching his coffee like a lifeline, their gazes collided. He blinked, then offered a lopsided grin. You're judging me, he accused, nodding at her violin case. I can tell. Musicians always think they've got the monopoly on suffering for art, says the man who probably considers coffee an art form. Clara shot back, surprising herself. Touché. He extended his free hand. Elias Hart, painter, cynic, and defender of properly bitter beverages. His palm was calloused, speckled with dried acrylics in cobalt and gold. Clara's pulse fluttered. They fell into an easy rhythm. Elias claimed the armchair beside her favorite window seat each Tuesday, sketching landscapes in charcoal while Clara scribbled musical notes. He mocked her habit of humming Bach in the shower. She teased him for naming his plants after dead poets. Weeks blurred into shared silences and laughter, and Clara found herself inventing excuses to linger, a forgotten scarf, a sudden craving for biscotti. One afternoon, he arrived with a single peony, its blush petals trembling in his grip. For you, he said, uncharacteristically shy. They reminded me of that song you played last week, the one that sounded like sunlight. Clara's breath caught. No one had ever described her music that way. It's called Obad in a minor, she murmured, tucking the flower behind her ear. I wrote it, about someone. Elias stilled. Lucky person. You, she almost said. The confession spilled out on a rain-slicked evening. They'd taken shelter under the cafe's awning, shoulders brushing, as thunder growled overhead. Elias's gaze traced the raindrops streaking the glass. I lied to you, he said suddenly. I'm not just a painter. My family, they own Hart Industries. I walked away from it all via the money, the expectations, to do this. He gestured at his paint-splattered boots. But my father's sick now. They want me to come back, to be someone I'm not. Clara's chest tightened. Why tell me? Because when I'm with you, I don't miss that life. Because you make me feel like the version of myself I actually like. His voice cracked. And because I'm terrified that when you find out I'm not just some struggling artist, you'll... She silenced him with a kiss. It was messy, desperate, tasting of coffee and vulnerability. His hands cradled her face like she was something fragile, precious. When they broke apart, Clara pressed her forehead to his. You're not the only one hiding, she whispered. Reaching into her bag, she pulled out a crumpled flyer, a symphony performance poster with her name in bold. Clara Bennett, first violin. Elias stared. You're that Clara Bennett? The prodigy who vanished last year? She nodded, throat burning. I couldn't play anymore. Every note felt like a eulogy. For who? Myself. He kissed her again, softer this time. Play for me, he murmured against her lips. Not for them. For us. The weeks that followed were a fever dream. Clara composed again, her melodies weaving with Elias's paintings, swirling hues of cerulean and crimson that he said mirrored her music. He rented a tiny studio above the cafe, and they spent nights tangled in paint-smeared sheets, whispering secrets and promises. But reality bled in at dawn. Elias's phone buzzed with calls from Zurich, from London, his father's empire crumbling without him. Clara's agent begged her to return to the stage. You're wasting your gift. One icy morning, she found him at the window, suitcase at his feet. I have to go, he said, not meeting her eyes. Just for a few months. To fix things. Clara's violin case felt heavier than ever. And if you get stuck there? If you forget, never. He pressed a small velvet box into her hand. Inside lay a pendant, a delicate silver treble clef cradling a dried peony petal. Wait for me? She nodded, tears scalding her cheeks. Spring melted into summer. Clara returned to the symphony, her performances edged with a new rawness that critics called transcendent. But the stage felt hollow without Elias's paintings glowing in her mind. She wore the pendant every day, tracing the petal like a talisman. On the first day of autumn, she arrived at Café Lumière to find her usual table buried in peonies. And there he stood, hair longer, eyes weary but bright, holding a canvas. "I sold the company," Elias said. "All of it. Turns out, I'm a terrible CEO." Clara's laugh dissolved into a sob as he unveiled the painting. A woman with a violin, bathed in golden light, surrounded by blooms that curved like musical notes. At the bottom, scrawled in his messy script, were the words ****** bad in a minor. ****, you kept your promise, he said, pulling her close. Now let me keep mine.